Elon Musk may have just ended World War III before it starts.
So I think the future that everyone, well, most people, I think, would agree is the most exciting is one where we are out there among the stars, where we are not forever confined to one planet, that we become a multi-planet species, like the best science fiction that you've ever read. You know, Star Trek, or Ian Banks, or Asimov, or Heinlein, and we want to make that real. Yeah, not just fiction, turn science fiction to science fact.
Tesla's 25,000% return on investment since its IPO pales in comparison when you think about what Elon Musk's companies represent in enabling humanity to achieve our full potential.
We have a profoundly important announcement to make, which is the most epic chip building exercise in history by far.
All right, what is he talking about? Well, TeraFab. What if the key to solving America's biggest geopolitical vulnerability isn't an aircraft carrier or some diplomatic treaty, but a 100 million square foot factory in the middle of Texas? Now, what am I talking about? All right, for years, the global economy, we've had a massive single point of failure. And that point resides in Taiwan. More specifically, Taiwan Semiconductor, TSMC. If the Taiwan Strait ever erupted into conflict with China over Taiwan, that would mean over 90% of the world's most advanced semiconductors would vanish overnight. Enter Elon Musk's TeraFab. It's a $100 billion plus mega project between Tesla, SpaceX, XAI, and Intel. Now, on paper, Elon Musk built TeraFab to power Optimus robots, cybercabs, and orbital AI satellites. But if this facility actually lives up to its promise, it's not just going to solve Musk's chip supply problem. It might just free the United States from the geopolitical reliance on Taiwan and cool tensions between the United States of America and China.
This is really going to take things to the next level. So, yeah, a level probably people aren't even contemplating right now. This is not in the, I would call this sort of an out of context problem. It's not in their context. So we're going to adjust the context by a few orders of magnitude here. So, yeah, we aspire to be a galactic civilization. So I think the future that everyone, well, most people, I think, would agree is the most exciting is one where we are out there among the stars.
Why is that important? Why would we strive for that? For the same reason that innately humanity has always wanted to reach out and find out what's over the next hill, be it for sheer curiosity or in a search for resources. That's just something that's innate within us. Now, in modern society, it has been kind of squelched, okay? Some people find the Kardashev scale and the thought of colonizing celestial bodies like Mars, we find it fantastical. Even in some cases, some people find it laughable. I do not. I take it very seriously, okay? Again, our innate desire to reach further has so far resulted in us pretty much exploring every continent, a lot of the ocean. A lot of it remains to be researched and explored. But we've even gone out to our closest celestial neighbor, the moon. And I know some people don't believe we've done that, and that's fine. You can believe what you want to believe. We will agree to disagree on that.
We are not forever confined to one planet, that we become a multi-planet species, like the best science fiction that you've ever read. You know, Star Trek, or Ian Banks or Asimov or Heinlein, and we want to make that real.
And you know what? We have made that real in terms of technological advances. Much of what we are experiencing today in terms of technology would have been, you would have been locked in an asylum if 200 years ago you suggested that you would hold a device in your hand with all of the knowledge in the world. Or you might have been locked in an asylum if you had suggested during the 1950s and 60s that this device would hold more computing power than the entire Apollo mission. So, to understand where TeraFab fits into this, you have to understand how fragile our current world is. And moving beyond these resource-based conflicts is a big part of a first step that humanity can make in a quantum leap in our development. So, right now, if you want a top-tier AI chip, smartphone processor, military guidance system, odds are high that that's going to be forged on a single island in Eastern Asia. Of course, we're talking about Taiwan. TMC's mastery of sub-3 nanometer chips, it's absolutely unparalleled. It's unmatched. So the U.S. passed the CHIPS Act to bring foundries home and to kind of build that institutional knowledge. But progress on traditional mega fabs, fabrication plants, has been slow. It's been very expensive and constrained by fragmented supply chains. So America's still locked in a dangerous geopolitical dilemma. Protecting Taiwan isn't just about foreign policy. Of course, it has a huge economic policy component. Unless, of course, someone changes this paradigm completely, we'll have to continue to do business as usual. And that might mean going to war at some point for these chips, which is definitely not optimal. All right, so that's where TeraFab comes in. Okay, this is a joint venture that's launched between Tesla and SpaceX. Intel is bringing its sub-2 nanometer 14A processing node to the table. And you got to understand that TeraFab is not trying to be another standard foundry. Musk's goal for the primary complex down in Texas, I think it's Grimes City, Texas, is truly mind-boggling, okay, when you think about it, because 1 terawatt of AI computing capacity produced per year is the goal, okay? We're talking about logic chips, developing those advanced AI processors, designing them in-house, memory and packaging done on site, in right there in the facility. And in so doing, the aim is to reduce the design to yield time from 9 months to mere weeks.
Semiconductors come in different buckets. You have logic chips, GPUs, CPUs that run processors. You have memory chips. And then you have the packaging, which is where you take the wafer and put it into chip form. All of those around the world, be it TSMC or Samsung, happen in different buildings, basically. What's unique about TeraFab is they're proposing to do it all under one roof.
Okay, so right now, instead of the current nightmare where a chip is etched in Taiwan, memory is added in South Korea, packaging happens somewhere else, TeraFab puts logic, memory, packaging, and testing under one roof. So how does a facility built for robots, cars, and satellites help the broader U.S. geopolitical picture? Well, it comes down to volume, capability, and model proof.
But would they need TSMC and Samsung if they can do this themselves ultimately?
Well,
like reminds me of what Apple, did years ago, moving away from, I don't know, let's say Qualcomm, for example.
As Elon Musk points out in another post on X directed in response to my post, the deal with Intel was announced last week. So, we don't know much about that. Intel said that it would help refactor. That is where you redesign and look at the technology used in the chip itself and the manufacturing process. But in our reporting, what's new, I understand that TeraFab went to Samsung. Samsung is a chip manufacturing partner of Tesla already, and said to them, how could you be involved in the TeraFab project? Samsung's response, all of this is according to anonymous sources, was, we don't want to be involved in TeraFab as a joint venture, but why, as a counterpoint, as a counter to that offer, what if we did better in Texas where they're building capacity right now? What if we ramped up quickly, allocated you more of that capacity in Texas? And that's where we've left it. We don't know what the net result of that was.
Here's the thing, and we talk about this with you Ed all the time. Like, this is just an individual you never count out. In reporting.
Correct.
Exactly. She's talking about Elon Musk. People are skeptical, but I think at this point, we've got to give him grace. He has proven time and time again that he is absolutely capable of putting into place highly advanced technological processes that bear results. All right. Tesla and SpaceX alone, they consume a staggering percentage of the world's high-end silicon chips. Now, by pulling their massive internal volume out of global foundries and producing it on Texas soil, U.S. territory, TeraFab is going to free up tremendous capacity at existing domestic and friendly foundries for other industries. The potential is there. So if Intel and Musk prove that you can manufacture, package, and integrate 1.4 nanometer class chips in a single domestic facility without depending on an international assembly line, then it creates a blueprint that defense contractors and tech giants can replicate here inside the United States of America and relieve that tension of that exists between China and Taiwan that threatens to pull us in for the very reason we're talking about, right? Now, through SpaceX's Starshield and deep space projects, TeraFab is going to produce radiation-hardened, ultra-advanced chips right here in the United States. So in a crisis, the U.S. military is not going to be waiting on a shipment across the Pacific in what would probably involve our chief adversary, China, which would have no incentive to help our military obtain this advanced technology. We're looking at anchoring the Silicon Pipeline right here in Grimes County, Texas. And look, let's keep it real, okay? Can TeraFab completely replace TSMC tomorrow? No. TMC has 4 decades of yield optimization, master level process engineering, and they've got a client roster that includes Apple, Nvidia, and AMD. TeraFab is a captive facility tailored specifically for Elon Musk's ecosystem. Now, it's true that ecosystem is expanding, right? Furthermore, building sub 2 millimeter chips at scale is one of the most difficult engineering feats in human history. So Intel's process execution has to be pretty much flawless. Not pretty much, it has to be flawless. Water and power infrastructure in Texas, it's got to hold up. And capital costs are definitely going to go beyond $100 billion. So TeraFab, it might have been born out of Elon Musk's obsession with building robots and launching satellites, but its ultimate impact could be far bigger than just tech products. This is what we're talking about, is when are we going to get to a place where technology is advancing the human condition and not just providing us with more access to silly entertainment? I firmly believe that Musk's technologies are aiming to accomplish just that. So, if and when TeraFab succeeds, it proves that the US can produce leading edge vertically integrated silicon at an industrial scale. And in so doing, it takes away China's biggest point of leverage and potential economic flashpoint. Takes it away. Okay. So let me know what you think. Can TeraFab deliver on its 1 terawatt promise and shift global geopolitics? Or is TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor, is it the crown for TSMC safe for the foreseeable future? We're going to delve more into this because I find it absolutely fascinating. The future is here. I wish I had another 100 years to see how things unfold in advancing the condition of humanity through technology, philosophy, and economics. Talk to you soon.